Jim Knowles is going to be the next defensive coordinator at Penn State. Joe, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but something that kind of started on Friday, maybe a little bit before that, Jim Knowles maybe be getting offered a lot of money. Oklahoma got involved. Was going to make him the highest paid coordinator in the country along with Penn State. But Jim Knowles, now winning a national title as the DC, heads back home. And he is a Pennsylvania native. He is heading back home to Happy Valley. Joe, and I don't want to say it's an unprecedented move because he is arguably the best defensive coordinator right now in the country. But he makes the move from Ohio State to Penn State, and you just won a national title there. I guess let's unpack this. Let's talk about this. Your thoughts on Jim Knowles going to Penn State?
Well, it's incredibly unexpected because, I can't think of the last time a national championship winning team just straight up loses their coordinator to another team in their conference that has been a rival of theirs over the last 10 seasons. Yeah, that they beat. To be able to just pull a guy away like this, it's kind of funny to pull the context of how much we argue and get frustrated by just as fans over transfer portal moves and these guys just up and leaving abruptly. A coach is doing that same exact thing. He's getting paid a crap load of money. He's a Northeast guy. That doesn't surprise me that he has an aspiration to get closer to where he's from and that there's an incentive from Penn State to be able to entice him to come and be their DC. But this is just so crazy to me that Ohio State loses their guy. They just won a national title. Ohio State has more than enough money to match this. I would thought that if Jim Knowles was going to leave, it would have
reportedly
been
to rudely interrupt you that they did match. So it's not as if they didn't match this.
Right. They would have. Yes. That's the biggest key to add into this, that they're not hurting for money. Ohio State is not some plucky underdog team that just didn't have the finances to keep their guy and he was on the way. It's not like when TCU lost Garrett Riley. That's the first thing that comes to mind. TCU wasn't going to get into a bidding war with Clemson. But this is just so nuts to me, Blake, because this doesn't happen. And I would have thought that Knowles, if he was going to leave, it would have been for a head coaching gig. But now here we are.
So there are a couple of things that I want to mention. We'll get to Ohio State, or I'll get to Ohio State in a minute, but I want to talk about Penn State because they made the move. Number one, we are all in because you don't make a move like that if you're not trying to go win a natty. And that's just the bottom line. Now, I will remind Penn State fans, because I don't know if they remember, it took Jim a couple of years to get that thing really rolling. So you're going to give him time. Don't go through one season and go like, oh, no, we suck. Jim Knowles, overrated. It's not true. I remember, Joe, if you remember the first time that Michigan took down Ohio State, it was Jim Knowles is overrated. Jim Knowles is overrated. No, he just had to get things enacted and things rolling there. I think that this is one of the biggest moves of the offseason. Regardless, it is the biggest move in the offseason. You're taking a guy who orchestrated, built, recruited on, and built the number one defense in the country. A team that beat you, by the way, if you're Penn State, because they made a goal line stand from the 1 yard line. That is the biggest thing. Joe, you went and took the dude that ultimately stopped you from potentially winning the Big Ten. Right? I mean, now I know that they had a shot to win it all or to win it. You get my point. From beating that team, and you go and take them. But you brought up something about money. You just do not make a coordinator hire at $3 million plus a year on average, around $3.2 million per year on average. If you're not going all in here, we mentioned this early, and I want to bring it up again. Maybe we brought it up in the pre-production, or maybe we brought it up in the live show. It kind of all blends together. I don't remember. I got to give a tip of the cap to James Franklin. Not a lot of people are going to do that because they say he can't win the big game. He can't do this. He can't do that. My God, can he really bring in a staff? My God, can he bring in defensive coordinators? And quite frankly, good for Penn State for being all in what they're doing. But there's another twist to this too, because Penn State co-DC Anthony Poindexter is also staying and also has been in contact with Jim Knowles. Joe, this is going all in for a national title now. Now, Ohio State fans are going to scoff and, oh, we can get whoever we. No. You remember the beginning of the Jim Knowles era when you wanted his ass canned because you were getting your shit pushed in by Michigan. This feels all in to me. And look, they could fall short, and nobody's saying that they can't fall up short. But, man, it just feels to me that James has done better than anybody in the country when it comes to hiring coordinators. Now, I know a couple years ago you fired your OC. It was bad. You made a change, and I still have a lot of faith in Andy Kotelnicki.
Yeah.
But, Joe, this is – and I hate to say it, so if you're around kids, pause it right now. Pause the video right now and then fast forward at 10 seconds. It's pulling your pants down and putting your manhood on the table and saying we're going all in to win a national title. That's how I feel about it because of the money that you did, the team that you took him from, and who he is as a DC. That's what it feels like to me.
So the last two off seasons, two Big Ten teams did something very similar in order to win a national title. Michigan and Penn State made aggressive efforts to get juniors to return to school for their senior seasons in order for them to make a push for a national championship. Penn State has done that to a degree, not to the furthest degree, because the most important guy that they needed to keep was Abdul Carter, and he's moving on to the NFL.
If you're a top five pick, you got to tell him to move on. I'm sorry.
Right. But if Abdul Carter came back, I think the conversation that we'd be having about next year would be a surefire, holy crap, Penn State is beyond loaded, that there should be no reason why they can't win a national title.
Right.
This roster is not as crazy dominant as the Michigan and Ohio State teams. They still don't really have the premier receiver talent to feel super threatened by them. I like Kyron Hudson. I think that he's going to be a boost for them. He's a type of receiver that they haven't had in a while that is going to be a consistent option for Drew Allar to throw to. But the most important part about all this, Blake, we need to have the discussion. Can James Franklin actually accomplish the end goal of winning a national championship? Because at the end of the day, he has done enough to beat the beatable teams. He has done enough in the situations against the ranked opponents that they were clearly better than, that they were going to boat race him and they were going to beat him. It happened in the playoff against SMU and it happened against Boise State. But whenever he's been faced with a challenge of an even opponent or a better team, they have faltered. So right now, the only question that remains unanswered, justifiably, is James Franklin, with everything that he's bringing back and around him, he has everything that he needs. Can he do enough for them next year to beat Ohio State? Can he do enough for them next year to win a Big Ten championship game against whoever the second best team in the conference is, assuming it's Ohio State or Oregon? That has to be answered, and we're not going to find that out until the whistle blows on the final minute, on the final play of when they have their next big matchup.
What is getting over the hump to you for him? Is it winning a national title, or can he win the playoff?
He needs to first beat Ohio State. That's getting over the hump. He hasn't done that.
It's ironic it's ironic the last time that it happened, we were talking about Saquon Barkley earlier with Underdog Fantasy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when they beat him. Right? I mean, so that's a whole different – that's a conversation of me and you having in July when we have nothing to talk about and me and you can just scream at one another. But I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. And let me add on to what you're saying about James Franklin. Not only can you not get over the hump, but not getting over the hump with this coaching staff or the coaching staffs that you've had.
Yeah.
Right? That makes it even bigger because it's not as if – Joe, it'd be like Nick Saban not winning with all the dudes that he had on his staff.
Yeah.
Right?
That's how good this staff is.
Imagine this. Imagine not winning a national title with Steve Sarkisian as your OC. Imagine not winning a national title with Lane Kiffin as your OC. Imagine not winning multiple national titles with Kirby Smart. What happened to Nick when those guys left? So, Nick ain't won one. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, that is a big factor in it too. You went from Steve Sarkisian to Tommy Rees. And I'm not trying to clown on Tommy Rees. I'm just saying, coaching is a massive deal. Do they get the Wheat kid back? I think is Tyrus Wheat. That kid's a baller, shot caller, 20-inch blades on the Impala. If he comes back, Jim Knowles uses him.
I think he is. I think he's back.
Good. They're going to be better than Joe. They're going to still be a top 10 defensive team. They still will. I fully believe that they can get there. I understand about Abdul Carter. Joe, I thought after what they lost last year that they were going to have issues. I mean, they're still a top 10 defense. I still think that Penn State can do it. Now,
you're talking about Zakee Wheatley, by the way, right? That was who you meant?
did I say Tyrus Wheat?
Yeah.
I did that in the national. I did that in the playoff game too. Why did I keep saying Tyrus Wheat? But Wheatley kid 6.
Yes.
Right.
Zakee Wheatley.
I keep doing that. I don't know. You know how bad I am with names. Thank you